And welcome to Just for Clicks, guys. This is Michael Buckosh, and this is live, raw, and uncut sports talk coming to you at the Facebook page right here, Monday night at 9 p.m. East Coast time. If you are listening to us on the RTFSportsNetwork.com page, you guys find me every day, every Monday through Friday, right there at noon East Coast time. But, guys, today's a special show because I got a special man on the phone. I got Marcus the Sports Freak on the phone with me. Marcus, we got a solid hour to just talk whatever we want to talk about, man. We can talk about the draft. We can talk about Christian McCaffrey signing a really big deal. We can talk about the Kansas City Chiefs being Super Bowl champions. But first things first, man, how are you doing today? Did we lose Marcus the Sports Freak? Marcus, are you there?
Hello, I'm here, Michael.
Oh, there you are, man. I gave you you the grandest intro, and
oh shit. Okay.
So let me just go ahead and restart that for you, man. How are you doing today? How have you been? It has been a little while since we talked.
Right. No, I'm doing well, man. Just waiting on this NFL draft. It's gonna be exciting. Actually, the NFL draft's gonna be now more exciting because nobody's got to watch any kind of sports or anything like that. So now this draft might have the highest ratings, and everybody's going to be paying attention to this thing. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is going to be the highest ratings ever because of the COVID-19. Because there's not going to be know, those 50 to 100,000 fans there, and I see a lot of people that are starting to kind of throw a fit about it. Like they are upset that Roger Goodell is going to be in his basement. Announcing the picks of the first round. I mean. Are they just throwing a big stink just to throw a big stink? Like, do you think?
Yeah, I didn't even understand what you were talking about there. Like, people are having a big stink about Roger Goodell. What?
Yeah, so it has been released that Roger Goodell will be announcing the first round draft picks from his basement, and people are kind of throwing a big stink about it for whatever reason. And I mean. It is the way of the world right now, and people just have to understand that, and just
listen. I can't wait for the draft so bad. He can announce it on a helicopter, Air Force One, with the president. I don't care. Just let's announce the first round and let's get going. I don't care if he's at his grandma's house or wherever he wants to have the first round. Let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, so before we get into anything else. Let's start with your draft picks. Who do you think is going to go number one overall?
Listen, all consensus is Joe Burrow is going to be the number one pick, and rightfully so. I mean, the kid was just fabulous last year. I mean, I just can't take anything away from him. His maturation process from last year to this year is absolutely incredible. Never seen anything like it, really. It's hard. He was okay. He was good last year. And then this year, I mean, he turned into something special. And so, that right there, I mean, yeah, he will be the number one overall pick in this year's draft. I mean, let's get the suspense out of the way early. It's going to be Joe Burrow to the Cincinnati Bengals unless something, crazy happens.
So I have been reading some stuff and seeing some stuff that the Cincinnati Bengals might make a big splash, meaning trade away that first number one overall pick because maybe they think that Andy Dalton is their future right now. So. If you are a GM of the Cincinnati Bengals, do you even entertain that idea at all?
It's tough. I'd have to listen to my scouts. I'm a Justin Herbert guy. Okay,
yes.
So if you're telling me I'm running the Bengals and one of my scouts comes up and tells me, hey, we got Burrow and we got Herbert pretty even. If you want to move down to 4 or 5 and you pick up an extra first round pick next year or take somebody's second round pick and we're going to lock in on Herbert, I might be all for it. But if you can't guarantee me that I'm going to get Justin Herbert, I'm not going to take a chance on Tua. Let me just get that out early. I just that would be devastating for my franchise. I get Tua, and then has an injury-prone 8-year career, and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert go on to be 4 or 5-time Pro Bowlers. They don't even have to be like the greatest of all time. They just have to be really good. That would kill my franchise. That would kill me. I'm not going to take it. I would not take a chance on Tua Tagovailoa. I would take a chance on Herbert if you can guarantee me that I'm going to get a first-round pick and I move down and I'll get Herbert and I'll go ahead and give Burrow up. But if I don't get wowed with an offer, I'm going to stand pat and I'm going to take Joe Burrow with the number one pick.
Yeah, so Marcus is going to lock that in. The Cincinnati Bengals will take Joe Burrow number 1 at the overall pick. Just some food for thought here, guys. Last year, the Cincinnati Bengals were 30th in offensive efficiency last year. There are only 32 teams in the NFL. The only teams that have been worse than that is the Washington Redskins, which, they are pretty dismal at this point. But before we get too carried away, guys, today's episode is sponsored by Raz Energy Drink. If you guys are in the market for a new tasting energy drink, be sure to go to raz.com or repp.com. Pick you guys up some Raz Energy Drink. I am currently drinking the orange can here. It is 0 sugar. It doesn't have. Here it is. It's the mango flavor, and quite frankly, guys, it is pretty good here. So, Joe Burrow goes number 1 overall to the Cincinnati Bengals per Marcus the Sports Freak here, giving us the second pick of the 2020 draft in the Washington Redskins. They did go 3-13 last year. They had the worst offense efficiency rating in the whole NFL, 27th in the defensive efficiency. But hey, special teams were in the top 5. So Marcus, where did the Redskins go this year? Number 2 overall pick.
And you just spoke to the futility, the putridness of the Washington Redskins over the years, and they've been absolutely horrific. I think the last 20 years they've averaged 6-10. I mean, that's pretty bad. They're in the dumps. Usually they're that way every single year. They're usually picking up high in the draft. But listen, they're in a good position this year. They've got their quarterback in Dwayne Haskins, who they picked last year with the 15th overall pick. To see how he develops. But they're in a good spot this year because as soon as Burrow goes off the board, the best player in the draft and the best player on most people's boards is staring at them in the face, and that's defensive end Chase Young out of Ohio State. He's in that Bosa mode. He plays like the Bosas. And so you cannot pass up on that type of talent with the Washington Redskins. They already have a pretty good front four. And then you add Chase Young to that mix, with Daron Payne and them boys, that's going to be a pretty good front four, decent front four. You have to go Chase Young with that second overall pick if you're the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Like you had the second overall pick, you are just a horrible team inside and out.
Yeah.
But the one thing positive about the Washington Redskins over the last couple of years has been their defensive side of the ball. They have been a not so terrible defense per se. Yes, they've been ranked on the bottom half of the NFL the last couple of years, but you also have to look who they've been playing too. They've been playing some high flying offenses as well. So I know they haven't played the Chiefs in a while, but let's say you play the Kansas City Chiefs and you give up 65 points and 800 yards. I mean, that's going to hurt you for the rest of the season, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I think all the consensus out there does have Chase Young going to the Redskins, unless some blockbuster crazy trade happens at number 1 or even at number 2. But I think Washington Redskins will be stupid to leave that number 2 spot. Moving us to the number 3 spot in the Detroit Lions. They did go 3-12-1 last season. Offense was, about average. They were ranked 19th in the efficiency department and 29th in the defense efficiency department. And special teams was number 1, so they have a really good kicker, apparently. So who did the Detroit Lions take number 3?
And the last time I talked to you, I don't know if their top corner, they traded Darius Slay to the Eagles.
Right.
And so now they're in the market for a corner, and they can take the best one in this year's draft. And I almost think this is a no-brainer now with the subtraction of Darius Slay. You have to go Jeff Okudah, cornerback, Ohio State. This guy's one of those shutdown corners that you can leave on the island, and he'll do wonders for you. They're going to be counting on Jeff Okudah to take Darius Slay's place, and he's not one of those little corners. I mean, you're talking Okudah 6'1", 205. He can. He gets with all he matches all the numbers. He checks all the numbers in the box as everything you'd want in a corner. So Jeff Okudah at Ohio State will probably go to the Detroit Lions with the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah, and if nothing were to happen, I do see the Detroit Lions going to the defensive side of the ball because that's where they need the most help. They have a pretty good tight end that they drafted last year. Matt Stafford is still fairly young. I think he's 31, 32 years old. Still a really good quarterback there, and they have some young receivers and tailback as well. So this is where I really see that the Detroit Lions will definitely try to move back in the draft. They could possibly trade with Miami because Miami seems to be looking for a quarterback for whatever reason. You could be thinking, maybe the Chargers want to move up there and draft their future quarterback. So
Absolutely.
this is a really lucrative spot for the Detroit Lions right now. And if I were the general manager of the Detroit Lions, I would be trying to move back to 6, 7, 8 spots. So I wonder what they'll try to do, but I definitely like your cornerback pick there.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Michael, you're 100% right. If somebody gets enamored, they fall in love with the quarterback that they want, this is a prime spot to jump in, the third or the fourth pick, and jump in ahead of the Miami Dolphins. Or the Miami Dolphins can feel that and think that another team is going to jump ahead of them, and Miami might want to move to 5-3. So just like what you were saying, to get Justin Herbert, to get Tua Tagovailoa. So yeah, Detroit can move back to 5 and pick up an extra second-round pick, and then still get their man Jeff Okudah. So these are when the trades might start to happen.
Yeah, this is definitely where the draft starts to get very exciting because let's totally be honest. You can have the best defensive end, the best cornerback, the by hands and feet over, the best players in the draft, but quarterbacks are still going to be drafted before them because the quarterbacks basically define your franchise for the next 10 to 15 years. Number 4, You had the New York Giants. They did go 4-12 last season with a young quarterback. Eli Manning has officially retired. They still got what's his face in the backfield. His name always slips my mind because I could care less about the Giants. But I digress on that.
Saquon Barkley.
Who do you see the New York Giants taking at the number 4 pick?
Well, here's another prime position of somebody maybe coming up and jumping ahead of the Miami Dolphins right here, and then the New York Giants could actually trade back. But if everything stands pat, they're going to get the freakish athlete of this draft, and that's outside linebacker Isaiah Simmons of your Clemson Tigers, 6'4", 240 pounds, runs like you can't believe, can get in the backfield, get tackles for loss. I think, coming into this season, Clavon Chase on LSU was the top linebacker of the freakish athlete type, and Isaiah Simmons somewhere along the line passed him up, and this would be the ideal situation to come in here for the Giants. The Giants picked their quarterback of the future last year, Daniel Jones. Right. So there's no bluffing with them. They're not taking a quarterback here. So so it's going to be Isaiah Simmons, linebacker, Clemson, 6'4", 240 pounds, freak athlete. Michael, this guy can get it done.
Yeah, and if I were a betting man, I would probably bet with you on that. But the Giants definitely need offensive line help. Daniel Jones didn't have any time last year, was consistently being hit. And we saw the one game that he did have legitimate time to throw down the field. He had a pretty good arm. He had really good arm strength, really good accuracy. So you definitely have to look at the old line here. But I don't think there is a old line that you take at number 4 that you can't take in the second or early third round. So I want to say that the New York Giants could be in talks with the Washington Redskins. If they make an interdivision trade like that, that'd be crazy to me. But I want to say the New York Giants are going to try to jump up in the draft and get Chase Young, get that dominant edge rusher that they really need to compete in the NFC.
Well, listen, you hit it on the head because the Giants need offensive line help, and the offensive tackles in this draft are almost as good as the receivers in this draft. Well, there's going to be 5 or 6 offensive tackles going in this first round. If you ever needed an offensive tackle in this draft, this is the draft. It wouldn't shock me at all if the Giants passed up on Isaiah Simmons, which he's a hell of a talent, as I just mentioned, and took one of these great offensive tackles. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest. It wouldn't be a reach either.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we both kind of agree that we could care less about the New York Giants, us being Cowboys fans. So the number 5 pick here, we 5-11 last year, Miami Dolphins. Who do you think they're going to take?
I still have them pegged with Tua, but now I'm hearing that the Tua medical issue, some people have taken him off the board. We don't know if Miami is one of those teams. And if Miami is one of those teams, they might go Justin Herbert. Now, you know me. We've been talking about this, seems like, for about a couple of years now, but I know it's been at least a year.
Right.
I have Herbert ahead of Tua. So if I'm the Dolphins, I'm taking if my scouts tell me that, hey, we need a quarterback, these quarterbacks aren't getting it done, you have the perfect guy to sit there and you take Justin Herbert with that 5th overall pick. But I'm going to go ahead and stand pat with my draft, and I'll have them. I can't assume that they have Tua off the board, and so I'm going to give them Tua Tagovailoa with the 5th pick.
Yeah, I definitely understand the issues about Tua and his injury. It was his hip and his ankle the last couple of seasons, if I'm not mistaken. But why is Miami going with a quarterback? They have Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's that veteran that can teach Drew Rosen how to be a quarterback, how to be a professional.
Right.
So you basically got a number 1 overall quarterback last year in a trade with the Arizona Cardinals, and Drew Rosen hasn't really played an NFL game to show you what he has.
Right.
So you could have a diamond in the rough. You could have Tom Brady sitting on the bench, and you're going to draft a quarterback. No, if the Miami Dolphins do that, they need to fire their front office. They need to clean house. Yes, I understand Tua might be a great talent. Yes, Jalen Hurts might be a great talent, but you have to put people around that quarterback to be successful. Right now, you have Drew Rosen that can really be a successful, a good tier 2 quarterback. They need offensive weapon help. They need wide receivers. They need running backs.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. Listen, and you hit it on that. If you and I were running the Miami Dolphins, we'd stick with Josh Rosen and Drew and Fitzpatrick. What we'd be doing is we'd be taking the best offensive tackle in the draft to replace Laramie Tunsil.
Right.
So they have to protect these guys. I don't necessarily think that they need a quarterback. You're 100% correct. I would take if it was my draft, I'm agreeing with you. I would take one of these offensive tackles.
And let's say they say, Drew Rosen isn't our guy for the future. Drew Rosen isn't our franchise quarterback, and they have to draft Hurts or Tua or whoever else is out there on the quarterback board when it gets to their spot. They better be trading Drew Rosen on draft day to get more draft picks, because without offensive help, they're going to be another 4-12, 5-11 season. So moving on.
Yeah, and I've been surprised that Josh Rosen hasn't gotten any trade. I'm surprised that Bill Belichick and New England haven't traded for Josh Rosen yet. But it looks like they're gonna stick with Jarrett Stidham. I don't know if that's gonna be a mistake, but we'll see how they do it. But I'm shocked that New England hasn't at least sent a 2nd round pick to Miami. If they're gonna draft a quarterback and they're not high on Rosen anymore, you can get a 2nd round pick for him.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be some type of red flags that we simply are just not seeing with Josh Rosen right now for some reason.
Right.
But number 6, the LA Chargers, they decided to not go with the new logo because fans threw such a big fit. That has been their big news pretty much this whole offseason and their whole last 10 seasons. But they went 5-11 last season. Who do you think they're going to take at the 6th overall pick?
I think they're in the best position because they need a quarterback. They're sitting there with Tyrod Taylor. They need a quarterback, and if the Miami Dolphins take Justin Herbert, then I would take Tua. And if the Dolphins take Tua, which I haven't, that's the way I have it. It's basically, this would be the easiest pick of the draft, pretty much, besides the Chase Young pick. Justin Herbert, I'd run my card up there, and Justin Herbert would be the starting quarterback for my San Diego Chargers. I mean, this kid's got all the tools, makes all the throws. Big kid, 6'6", 240 pounds. This kid's got it all. Very cerebral. You have to take Justin Herbert, and with the Los Angeles Chargers there, 6th overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely need quarterback help. I don't think Tyrod Taylor is their quarterback for the future. I believe he was
Right.
he was with the Buffalo Bills a couple years ago, and I just saw a tier 3 quarterback that is going to be a lot like the Jets quarterback from years ago. Was it who was it? Chad Pennington.
Right.
He was just a good quarterback. He would never wow you. He would never win you a
Right.
ball game, but he would never really lose you a ball game either. So, I mean,
Right.
if the Chargers are maybe they're in like a rebuild mode and they want to maybe tank this year and next year, they won't draft a quarterback. But if they are in a must-win now situation or even be 500, they have to draft quarterback. And Jalen
Right.
Hurt or is probably going to be landing there at that spot. Moving on
Right.
to the pick number 7 overall, Carolina Panthers. They did go 5-11 as well this year. They've had a pretty interesting offseason. They signed Teddy Bridgewater to a pretty decent deal. They let Cam Newton go. They just signed Christian McCaffrey to, I believe, a $16 million contract.
Yeah.
Who do you think the Carolina Panthers and new head coach Matt Rule are going to take at the 7th overall pick?
Yeah, a literal no-brainer as well. This pick, they lost Dontari Poe. They've lost McCoy in the past couple of years. I mean, they need a defensive tackle, and the best one in the draft is sitting there, Derek Brown, 6'5", 330 pounds out of Auburn. I mean, this guy's a dominator. I mean, this is such an easy pick. I mean, the only person that you might even consider at this spot would be Kinlaw from South Carolina, because they're similar. When you put the tape on Kinlaw and Derek Brown, they're very similar. Derek Brown gets a little more publicity because I guess Auburn's more on TV more than South Carolina, but Derek Brown is the no-brain pick right here for the Carolina Panthers with the 7th overall selection.
Yeah, I definitely think they have to go defensive side. They lost Luke Keeley to retirement as well earlier in the offseason. But I like the kid out of Clemson, Isaiah Simmons. I think he is going to land in Carolina, and I think he is going to have a very lucrative season or a lucrative career there. I can see him playing 13 to 15 years, and you just always he is going to remind me of the old Bill or the Bears linebacker. Oh, what is his name? White boy, Brian Urlacher. I think he's I think he's going to have not like Brian Urlacher but like that type of career where he's there 12, 15 years and just really grinding it out and going to have a pretty good career. So number 8, Arizona Cardinals. They went 5-10-1 last season. They drafted Kyler Murray number 1 overall last year. They also got a rookie head coach. Where do you think the Cardinals go? They'll go this year at their number 8th overall pick.
Yeah, and we talked about this right when the DeAndre Hopkins trade happened. I had them. This is where the receivers start coming off the board here. But since they got DeAndre Hopkins, they need somebody to protect Kyler Murray. And there's no better person in the draft, in my opinion, than Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. And you talk about a monster. I'd like this guy walking in the room, 6'7", 370.
Right.
And, this is an offensive tackle. Can play either side, left or right tackle. This guy's got athletic ability, moves. He's motivated. You put the tape on in Louisville, and Mekhi Becton is, in my opinion, the best tackle in this draft, and I think he goes right here, number 8, to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you much more. And there couldn't be a better deserving kid to go so high in the draft. Granted, it is to a team that I wish death upon every year for trading a rookie quarterback 2 years ago and firing a first-year head coach, but we won't go too far into that. But I have had the privilege of talking to this kid on the phone, meeting him in the film room, and talking to the O-line coach at Louisville in this past months, because I have a great kid on our high school football team, Zen Malowski, who is being recruited by U of L right now. And this kid from Louisville, very humble kid, very smart kid. I promise you, old linemen have to be the smartest people in the room, like 9 times out of 10. This kid is going to do great things at Arizona. Moving on to number 9.
Right, absolutely.
Jacksonville Jaguars went 6-10 last year. Their biggest needs, as people are saying, is the defensive side of the ball: cornerback, defensive line, edge rusher, and linebackers. Who do you think they're going to draft?
Listen, a lot of people are following. This is a great offensive tackle draft, and a lot of people have got to start following the model of the Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, and Dallas Cowboys. I mean, when you play those 3 teams, you know you're going to have to bring the lunch pail because those are great offensive lines. I think Jacksonville follows suit in that. I know they have other needs, other places, but they've got to shore up that offensive line. And I switch here. I like Jedrick Willis, offensive line out of Alabama. This kid's really good, 6'4", 312 pounds, really light on his feet. I think he's going to play for many years with the with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars are kind of confusing to me because they did slap a few franchise tags on their defensive players this offseason. They let go of Nick Foles. They said Garner Minshew is our starter, is our future. I would not be surprised at all if the Jacksonville Jaguars draft a quarterback at the number 9 pick, because I don't think they know deep down in their heart that Garner Minshew is their future. Like Marcus, me and you have said this on several different shows that Nick Foles is horrible outside of Eagles Green. That's just the way it is, and it showed in Arizona, it showed in Jacksonville, and it's probably going to show in Chicago as well. So,
and it showed with he didn't do anything with the Rams either.
Right. So I would not surprise if the Jacksonville Jaguars surprise everybody and go quarterback in this pick. But if they don't, they're going to go defense, and they're probably going to go cornerback. So it is what it is. Number 10 pick, quite arguably the most overrated team in the NFL in the last 25 years, the Cleveland Browns at the 10th overall pick. Where do they go?
I think they got to fix that offensive line. I mean, Baker Mayfield takes a lot of crap, for hit that season last year, and rightfully so. I mean, Baker wasn't great, but Baker's got a lot of talent. I mean, there's a reason he went number 1 overall. I'm not totally in love with Baker Mayfield, but I think he's really good. And his offensive line didn't give him any time to throw the football. So they've got to shore it up right here. I got them taking Tristan Wirfs, kid out of Iowa. He's absolutely awesome. I mean, you see, I got 3 offensive tackles going right here in a row. Everybody talks about wide receiver draft. These offensive tackles are something else, man. And there's going to be about 5 or 6 of them coming off the board here in the first round. But the 10th overall pick, the Cleveland Browns select Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa, 6'5", 320 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, the Cleveland Browns have all the offensive firepower in the world. They got Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Chubb. I think Kareem Hunt signed for like another year for them. They have countless weapons on the offensive side of the ball, but it all starts at the O-line. Exactly what you said. I agree with you. I think they're going to go O-line, but I think they're going to go offensive tackle. The tackle from Alabama, Jedrick Willis. I think he's going to anchor that offensive line for many, many years to come. I've had the pleasure of like watching some film of him over these last couple weeks, trying to prep some kids, and his footwork is just amazing. Like, I have never seen such a big guy move so nimbly on the field.
Yeah.
Number 11, you had the New York Jets. They did go 7-9 last season. Where did they go?
Okay, here's the first kind of shocker of the draft. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Let's do
it. New York Jets with the 11th pick take small slot receiver Henry Ruggs, the first wide receiver coming off the board from Alabama. Everybody thinks it's going to be Judy and CeCe Lamb and Justin Jefferson, and small Henry Ruggs from Alabama, who sometimes was the 3rd receiver there at Alabama, ended up being the 2nd best receiver there this past year behind Jared Judy. He goes in front of his teammate with this, and everybody's going to be this is the first shocker where everybody's going to be looking at each other like, wow. Henry Ruggs goes before Jared Judy and CeCe Lamb here with the Jets. The perfect Wes Welker mode, Randall Cobb mode. Henry Ruggs here, perfect for Sam Darnold here with the Jets.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to go receiver if a lot of stuff doesn't happen up top in the draft, meaning people move up to take quarterbacks and they move down that edge rusher or offensive
Right.
man, they probably won't take offensive tackle till about 4th or 5th round looking at their draft picks. But I do like a wide receiver, and I do like that CeCe Lamb from Oklahoma. I think he had a great college career. And when he played against my Kansas State Wildcats, he torched us over and over and over again. So I wouldn't see why he wouldn't be able to do that in the NFL if a quarterback can get him the ball. So I think they're going to go CeCe Lamb at the 11th overall pick. Number 12, you had the Las Vegas. That's going to sound weird coming off the tongue. Las Vegas Raiders did go 7-9 last season. They had a pretty eventful offseason last year with the whole Antonio Brown thing, and then you have then you have the Eli Apple deal that fell through. You have Derek Carr. Does John Gruden really like Derek Carr? Where do you think the Raiders go in the 12th overall pick?
And this is where the Raiders said, what? They took Henry Ruggs. That left them with the best receiver on pretty much on everybody's board. Wide receiver at Alabama. And they went Alabama last year with Brandon Jacobs, running back, who did very well for them. I think they like Alabama. I think all the teams love Alabama.
Right.
They'll take Jared Jeudy, best wide receiver in the draft on most people's boards. With their pick here, 6'1", 193. Jared Jeudy can do it all. I've heard I've heard some people say he's the best route runner they've ever seen and all that, but they also said that about Amari Cooper when he was coming out of Alabama. So Jared Jeudy must be a better route runner than Amari Cooper. When I put on the tape, I see similar things, just like Amari Cooper. I see a little bit more speed. It's pretty good. Jared Jeudy with the Raiders, that's not bad. Go with the Williams on the other side there. Jared Jeudy will be with the Raiders, and they're pleasantly surprised that Henry Ruggs went to the Jets, the previous pick.
See, and at this 12th overall pick, this is where you find out if John Gruden loves Derek Carr or even can tolerate Derek Carr or if he's ready to just move on and say ship him out of town. If he's ready to ship him out of town right after the draft, look for the Oakland Raiders to draft a quarterback. I don't think Derek Carr is in their future whatsoever. They kind of struck out on free agency getting a veteran quarterback per se, but I think the Oakland Raiders are going to go quarterback. They're going to ship Derek Carr out of town, and they're going to pick up one of those quote crafty veterans that we've seen let go. Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, maybe.
Well,
I could definitely.
They said, listen, you know they're not excited about Carr because didn't they signed Mariota in the offseason?
Right.
So you don't sign Mariota unless you're not happy with Carr. I mean that's kind of a big deal there. I mean there's some people thinking they're going to draft Jordan Love. He'll come off the board, kid out of Utah State. I just think that they need to give whoever the quarterback is, they need to give him some weapons. This is a wide receiver draft. Jared Jeudy staring at him in the face as the best wide receiver in the draft. I think they just go that route.
Yeah, I mean, I do think ultimately deep in my gut they'll probably try to go a quarterback or even trade back in the first round here. But let's go ahead and move on to pick number 13. Super Bowl loser, San Francisco 49ers. They are getting this pick via the Indianapolis Colts from a trade from last season. Who do you see going to San Francisco?
Listen, and it's what's weird is they traded DeForest Buckner, who's a heck of a player, big number 99. And I was shocked about that, but at least they got back a 13th overall pick. So, but to replace DeForest Buckner, there's only one guy staring at you in the face if you want to replace him, and that's Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina, 6'5", 330 pounds. I mean, like I said earlier, you put the tape on with him and Derek Brown, and it's very similar. So to be able to get Kinlaw right here and to replace DeForest Buckner, who they traded to the Colts here, I think is a pretty good find here. So I have DeForest Buckner going to the San Francisco 49ers at pick number 13.
Yeah, that does sound very intriguing pick, and I didn't even think he would be going up that high in the draft. But I do have the 49ers going as a wide receiver, giving Jimmy Garoppolo some weapons on the outside there, because they're not going to go back to the Super Bowl playing the offensive style that they did last season, because I mean, if a team like the Kansas City Chiefs can shut you down with their horrible defense, I mean, it is a copycat league, so you definitely need to open it up on the outside. That is why the 49ers are going to go wide receiver, and I have them taking Jerry Jeudy from Alabama. I think he is going to drop down a little bit, and he's going to go to the 49ers and make a huge impact on them, in getting them back to the NFC championship game for sure next year.
I love your pick. I mean, if Jerry Jeudy's there, even CeeDee Lamb's there, and I have CeeDee Lamb still on my board. You're the 49ers. You got to give Garoppolo some weapons. Yeah. Sanders is getting older. They had a home run there with Deebo Samuel. They hit a home run there with not a first round pick. So yeah, I mean, a receiver would be nice also. I would agree with that too.
So moving on to pick number 14, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been very busy in the offseason, bringing home quite arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, signing Tom Brady. They re-signed Sue. I mean, this seems like a destination for ring chasers right now at Tampa Bay. But at the 14th overall pick, who do you think they pick up?
Well, you just brought in the golden boy, right? The golden child there, the golden man, however you want to do it. Andrew Thomas, 6'5", 320 pounds, out of Georgia, with the 14th overall selection. You've got to protect Tom Brady, and this guy, it just fell into your lap. Here's the run on offensive tackles, like I just mentioned earlier. A lot of people think wide receivers are going to start coming off the board early. Offensive tackles might beat them.
Yeah.
So this is going to be good. Within the first 20 picks, more offensive tackles or more wide receivers will be drafted. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Andrew Thomas will go here with the 14th selection.
Yeah, with the 14 overall pick, they can go many directions here. You said they can go offensive line, which I think they will go offensive line later in the draft, because it is such a offensive line heavy draft that they can wait to pick up a guy in the second or third round even. But to get a dominant interior guy like Derek Brown from Auburn, I don't think you can pass up him at the 14th overall pick. Yes, they did sign Sue for I believe it was like one more year, but I mean, you get a guy like Derek Brown to learn from Sue, and you had that Sue Brown mix in the middle, or maybe flip him outside, kind of mix and match. I don't think you can pass on Derek Brown here at the 14th overall pick.
Gotcha.
So number 15 here, we have the Denver Broncos, 7-9. Who do you think they go with?
I'm thinking CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, a kid out of Oklahoma. He is a little disappointing in his 40 time. People thought he was going to test better than that, maybe like a 4.3 or 4.4, but he was a 4.5 on. But and you put on the tape, and it's not as good as the Alabama receivers with separation. So that's why he might be, the slip was just a little bit here. But I don't consider the 15th overall pick slipping. So I think CeeDee Lamb goes with the Denver Broncos here. They need some receivers. And here you go. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's falling right into their place. And CeeDee Lamb, when you put the tape on, is Reggie Bush-like in terms of he can see people coming, stop on a dime, let them fly by, and then he continues on with the football. His tape is outrageous in some spots. That's why I was surprised he tested a 4.5. His punt returns and stuff like that, and kickoff returns he'll be for the Broncos. He could be special. I see CeeDee Lamb here with the Broncos.
Well, Marcus, you are a very, very smart man, and I don't need to explain to you what game time speed is and 40 times speed is.
Right.
CeeDee Lamb has game time speed. He may run a 4.5 in spandex and a shirt, but he also runs that 4.5 in full shoulder pads, knee pads, helmet geared. So he is a gamer. There are many people that run 4.3 40s, 4.2 40s, but once they put on those shoulder pads and helmet, they're 4.5, 4.6. So don't take anything away from CeeDee Lamb whatsoever. But the Denver Broncos, they have a special pick here, because 15th, is kind of that mid-tier pick where some people from the some people that have picked that have already picked might want to jump back up into the first round. And the Denver Broncos don't have a horrible team, but they don't have a great team either. The problem is the other teams in their division have high-powering offenses. So, do you try to match their offensive firepower, or do you try to get a defensive like stopper to maybe help slow down their high-flying offenses? And this is why I think the Denver Broncos don't think they have the quarterback to keep up with Patrick Mahomes or anybody else for that matter in a high-flying offensive side. So I think they're going to go cornerback, and they're going to get that C.J. Henderson from Florida. I think they have to go that route.
Hey, you can't go wrong with C.J. Henderson.
No.
A lot of people have him as the best corner in the draft. I wouldn't mind your pick either.
So moving on to number 16, we have the Atlanta Falcons 7-9 last year. What do you think they go with?
The guy you just mentioned. How about C.J. Henderson?
Yeah.
They need some corners. There you go. Number one cornerback in the draft. To Thomas Dimitroff, he's a pretty good draft guru. I think he'll select C.J. Henderson, 6'1", 200 pounds out of Florida. Really good football player.
Yeah, I do think the Atlanta Falcons need defensive help as well. They can draft anybody from a cornerback to a linebacker to an edge rusher, and it won't be wrong in their eyes because they do need help in all aspects of the defensive side. Moving on to number 17, you have your Dallas Cowboys. They go 8-8 last season. Kind of lost some people in the offseason here, but who do you think they're going to pick?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys were looking at C.J. Henderson. He doesn't fall to them like he's going to go one spot ahead to the Atlanta Falcons, and I think that's kind of a blessing in disguise. The guy I'm about to tell you about, he was the freakish athlete getting to the quarterback, tackles for loss, and then Isaiah Simmons not necessarily came out of nowhere, but passed up Chason in that regard. So the Cowboys, with the 17th overall selection, I think they take Clavon Chason, edge rusher, and can be outside linebacker for the LSU Tigers, and he's going to be the Dallas Cowboy with the 17th overall selection. Listen, you can't have enough people getting to the passer. You can put Chason, stand him up, and run a 3-4, or you can put him at that wide 9 position at defensive end outside the tackle, and you just say, go get him. And I think Cleveland Chason's going to be pretty damn good in the National Football League. I think the Cowboys will be jumping for joy. Listen, that model that the Giants won Super Bowls with wasn't Eli Manning. They kept drafting first-round picks, edge rushers, and people that could get to the quarterback. So when they met Brady in the Super Bowl, Brady was running for his life. They asked Michael Strahan, they said, when did you know you were going to beat the New England Patriots and Tom Brady? He said in the first quarter when they couldn't block us. When we put Justin Tuck, he said when we put Justin Tuck in the middle, and I think they took out one of their big defensive tackles, Robbins or somebody like that, and Michael Strahan said they could not block us. And so that was just amazing to me, just listening to that. Here the Patriots are averaging 40 points a game, and they're scoring 14 on the Giants because the pass rush was just that dynamic. And so if the Dallas takes on that model, and you sit there, you look at in the offseason, they got Aldon Smith. They have DeMarcus Lawrence. They signed Gerald McCoy, who can get pressure up the middle. Randy Gregory's probably coming back. That doesn't matter. You still need guys rotating in there and getting to the quarterback. And Clavon Chason could be the perfect Cowboy. Motor, always running, just raw, explosive. I mean, this guy makes plays, and he gets tackles for loss, too, not just sacks. So you pitch it to that running back, and Chason's coming. This could be a real special defense if you had Clavon Chason at LSU to the Cowboys.
Yeah, speaking of that Patriots-Giants game, I did get the privilege of watching that replay of that on Saturday, and re-watching that game, I was fairly younger watching that game, so I didn't quite know how to watch film and stuff. But after watching that game, exactly what you said, they could not block, Michael Strahan and those boys. And before I made my draft order, I got to even think about that, as a edge rusher, and you can never have too many people going to the quarterback. But I did have a LSU Tiger going to the Dallas Cowboys in the 17th overall pick, and their cornerback, I believe his last name was Fulton. I do think
Christian Fulton. You can't go wrong with that guy either, Michael. You go ahead. You can't go wrong with Christian Fulton either.
Yeah, because I think that's what really hurt us last year was the secondary play. But moving on, Pick number 18, you had the Miami Dolphins via the Pittsburgh Steelers, 8-8 last season. They do have Drew Rosen as quarterback. Fitzpatrick, second pick in the first round. Who do you think they're going with?
Wow, this is a tough one here. They could go many different directions here. The Dolphins. How about your Christian Fulton?
There you go.
I mean, this guy's a playmaker. Yeah, he's a little bit down from last year, but this guy is a playmaker. LSU Tigers. What's amazing about this is the draft is such a crapshoot. We don't know how this is going to shake out. But Grant Delpit was all the talk, about he's the best player in the secondary for LSU, but he's not going to go ahead of Christian Fulton. This would be a very good pick for the second pick, right, for the Dolphins. Yeah, this would be a really good pick for them. So I'm going to go Christian Fulton here.
Yeah, if the Dolphins do keep this pick and they didn't draft a quarterback earlier, this is where I think they should draft a quarterback if they're going to draft a quarterback. But this is also a perfect pick for somebody that needs a quarterback that can sneak up into that 18th pick, and they could draft the Jordan Love from Utah State. I think whoever sneaks up to that 18th pick is going to take Jordan Love at this pick. And if it happens to be the Miami Dolphins, they're going to take Jordan Love because I think they feel that they need to draft a quarterback because they do have two first round picks, and I don't have them picking a quarterback first overall. So, number 19, another second-round, first-round pick, Las Vegas Raiders via the Bears. Who do you think they're going with?
They could go a number of different ways here. You look at A.J. Terrell, another pretty good, damn good quarterback out of Clemson. Listen, Mike Mayock loves Clemson Tigers. So I'm going to go. He drafted one in the second or third round last year that did pretty well for them, actually. I'm going to go A.J. Terrell. Cornerback Clemson right here for your Raiders.
Not my Raiders. I dislike the Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders, whatever they are. But with the 19th overall pick, I think they're going to go wide receiver here because they went defense earlier in the draft, offensive line, I should say. I think they're going to take Justin Jefferson from LSU Tigers.
Ooh.
So I think they're going to slide in there, get kind of the steal of the draft right there at the 19th overall pick.
Right.
Moving us to number 20 here, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They acquired this pick via the Rams for the Jalen Ramsey trade earlier in the 2019 season. Who do you think they're going with?
Well, look, receiver. We've been talking about this offensive tackle receiver draft. Here comes another receiver off the board. And this is my favorite receiver that I think in 3 years from now will be sniffing the Pro Bowl ahead of all the other receivers in this draft, especially the ones going in the first round. I like the guy you just mentioned, Justin Jefferson, here out of LSU, 6'1", 200 pounds, fantastic player, runs all the routes. I mean, this guy can you can line him up anywhere. I think Justin Jefferson would be a perfect pick right here.
Yeah.
For your Jacksonville. Jacksonville.
And I don't know where the Jacksonville Jaguars go at this pick. I mean, I think they went offense earlier in the first round. I think they got to go defense in the second part of the first round, and I think they're going to go safety. That safety from Alabama. His name is slipping my mind right now. All I have on my paper is safety from Alabama. I think it's
Xavier McKinney.
Yeah, definitely. I think he is going to be a lockdown safety, maybe not a lockdown safety, but he is going to be the heart and soul of that Jacksonville defense moving forward, much like Jalen Ramsey was for them a couple years ago. Moving on to number 21, you had the Philadelphia Eagles went 9-7 last year. They traded off their only receiver that stayed healthy all season somewhat, and Nelson Aguilar. Who do you think they go with?
Here might be a little bit of shocker, people, but here's your run on receivers, and these guys are really good. I like Brandon Ayuk, 6 foot, 195, 200-pound kid out of Arizona State. He's another one. He's a nice slot receiver, but I think he can play on the outside as well. They need to start getting weapons for Carson Wentz. They blew it when DeAndre Hopkins was dangled in front of them by Bill O'Brien, and they didn't take the bait. They're going to have to go receiver here. And Brandon Ayuk is a hell of a receiver. I love the kid. Actually, he's my second favorite in the first round behind Justin Jefferson. So I think the Eagles go Brandon Ayuk, 6 foot, 200 pounds, out of Arizona State.
Yeah, I think they go receiver as well. I do love that kid from Arizona State to fall there as well. But if they don't want to go receiver there, they need to go offensive line at like as well. They have to keep Carson Wentz upright and not hurt because he is the $100 million man at Philly. And we know how it goes if a $100 million man gets hurt. They suck. So moving on to number 22 pick, you had the Minnesota Vikings in the trade with the Buffalo Bills for Stephon Diggs. Who do you see the Vikings picking up?
We just mentioned him a couple of picks ago. Listen, this kid is to me is the ball hawk. There's two of them out there. There's Antoine Winfield out of Minnesota and Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. And you cannot go wrong. If you add Xavier McKinney to that Buffalo Bill defense, they're already a good defense, Michael. Xavier McKinney, number 15 in your Alabama program, this kid gets it. He's a rah-rah guy. He's a leader. It seems like he's in all the right places all the time. Xavier McKinney will go to the Buffalo Bills with the 22nd selection. Heck of a player.
Yeah, I think you mean the Minnesota Vikings. They acquired that from the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Stuff Diggs drill.
Oh, they got it from the Buffalo. Yeah. Yes, that's what I meant. Minnesota Vikings, absolutely.
Right.
You cannot pass up on a ball hawking safety like Xavier McKinney.
Yeah, and I do like the defensive side of the ball, but I think they're going to go linebacker. That linebacker from Alabama. I think they need some interior defensive help there. And the linebacker from Alabama. I mean, I don't think you can really go wrong drafting any Alabama types players on the defensive side of the ball because they have been such a staple in the NFL for such a long time. Number 23. They did go 12-4 last year. The New England Patriots losing Tom Brady. Where do you think they go in the draft?
Man, I don't know how you pass up on Jordan Love if you're the New England Patriots. I really don't. I mean, you're sitting there with Jarrett Stidham, and they like Stidham. For some reason, I liked him too. I mean, I was pretty close to here in Texas and watched him at Baylor. He's a good player. He doesn't have the elite arm, to cut through the wind sometimes, but he is a very good football player. And if they're really sold on him, okay, more power to you. I would take my pick. I'm taking Jordan Love here if I'm Bill Belichick to replace Tom Brady. That's just me. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think you got to go. If you're not going to do that, you got to go defense here. Antoine Winfield out of Minnesota. This kid is read and react, special type player. I've gone back and forth when you watch the film between Xavier McKinney and Antoine Winfield. I still can't decide who's better. The only you know how I flipped that decision is one's Alabama and one's Minnesota. Right. That's it. I mean, literally. Both these kids, I think, will excel at the next level. So I've got the New England Patriots taking Antoine Winfield, who's, by the way, Dad played in the NFL for a lot of years. He's good bloodlines, a heck of a player. So Antoine Winfield was going to be the perfect player to go with the McCurdy's and Stephon Gilmore. I mean, the New England Patriots have one of the best secondaries in football. You're going to add Antoine Winfield to this. It is just the rich get richer, and they will be. You talk about Legion of Boom and the no-fly zone. That's the New England Patriots.
Yeah, as I spoke earlier, I think they are going to try to work out a trade with the Miami Dolphins in that 16th overall pick there to move up to get a quarterback. But I don't. If that deal doesn't go through, they are going to test their options, see what quarterback is like out there. I think they're going to wait till the second round or third round to ultimately pick up the quarterback. Because I think they're going to go offensive side and like a tight end or a receiver. I kind of left it blank on my sheet because I don't know which way they'll go, and I think that would be the first tight end to come off the board. So why not take the best to take the best tight end out there, depending on who you have, to fill their tight end needs and like Gronk. So moving on. New Orleans Saints, 13-3 last year. Where do you think they go?
This is where you start. Everybody, in the normal drafts, I don't know how it's going to be this year, but they got that camera, and then they go to the kid's house, or they show them at the draft table.
Right.
And this is where the cameras keep putting this is where the ESPN or NFL Network, they keep putting the cameras at Jordan Love. Here's another one. I mean, here's Drew Brees is going to play one more year. Even though he signed a 2-year deal, they say he's going to play one more year. And then are they really going to, go with Taysom Hill, 30, 31 years old and start him at quarterback after Drew Brees leaves? Why not take Jordan Love here? So, but I'm not hearing that. And a lot of times, Michael, when you're not hearing stuff, it's probably going to happen because they don't want to. Everybody's in disguise mode. They don't want to give anything away. I would take Jordan Love here if he's still on the board here with the 24th pick if I'm New Orleans.
Yeah.
But if they don't take him, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma. I've watched this kid for many years destroy the Longhorns to ward number 9 in your Oklahoma program. And this kid's inside, outside. This kid's a monster. Gets to the ball carrier. He was Oklahoma's best defensive player the past couple of years. So I have Kenneth Murray going to your New Orleans Saints at that inside linebacker.
Yeah, I see them going defensive side, and I had Murray going off the board earlier. And the more I think about it, the more I kind of rewrite things. I think he is going to slide down, and the Saints have to pick him up. If they decide not to go quarterback. Yes, I know they did trade away Teddy Bridgewater or let him walk or whatever they did. I got to know exactly what they did, but I don't think they're 100% sold on Taysom Hill as their future quarterback either. So it wouldn't surprise me if that Utah State quarterback Love is still on the board. They don't pick him up just for shoots and grins here. So pick number 25. You have the Minnesota Vikings. Who do you think they got?
Here's another tackle. I like Josh Jones, kid out of Houston. I've watched him play a lot. This guy's light on his feet. He can protect the passer. He can maul you too. Minnesota protecting Kirk Cousins, I think, is a big deal. So and it's funny, Kirk Cousins has always been an oddity to me, a little enigma. I mean, he's a good regular season quarterback, and he gets in the playoffs. And except for one play where he chunks it to Stephon Diggs, right? And New Orleans, Marcus Williams misses sight of the ball, and basically it's like a Hail Mary to Stephon Diggs. Kirk Cousins has been horrible in the playoffs. So it's like this guy's the ultimate regular season quarterback, and he gets to the playoffs, and he's terrible. So, but they still got to protect him. He's their guy. They just signed him to a new deal. So I got them taking Josh Jones.
Yeah,
kid out of Houston, offensive tackle.
Yeah, this is the Minnesota Vikings, third pick in it, or sorry, their second pick in the last 5. Five picks here, and I like everything that you said. I mean, they are sold that Kirk Cousins is their future quarterback. I think they gave him another 2 or 3 year deal, kind of a restructure type of thing to sign more players. But then they trade off Stephon Diggs, which is a big head scratcher to me. So I think they're going to go offensive line here. Austin Jackson from USC. I think.
I like that.
I mean, this like the 6th or 7th offensive of like linemen we see going off the board here. So like you said, very heavy draft. Moving on to pick number 26, you had the Miami Dolphins via the Texans. They got this pick for the Laremy Tunsil trade. Who do you think the Miami Dolphins are going to pick up?
Man, this is one of my favorite players in the draft. I think with the 26th selection, the Miami Dolphins are going to take Yetur Gross-Matos, defensive end, number 99 in your Penn State program. This guy reminds me of DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, brings it, high intensity, high motor. This guy's the real deal. 6'5", 270 pounds. You don't ever have to worry about Yetur Gross-Matos is going to play today because he's going to bring it and he's going to play. This guy's a very interesting story. I'm sure they're going to do it on NFL Network and ESPN. This guy's had issues in the past. I think he lost his father drowning. I think his brother was hit by lightning. So, I mean, this is a very tragic story, but it's a feel-good story because this guy is about to become a millionaire, and he wears that on his sleeve there, losing his brother and losing his father. And this is a heck of a player right here for Coach Brian Flores to get in Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State here for the Miami Dolphins with the 26th pick.
All righty, Marcus. So we're getting a little short on time here. So let's go ahead and breeze through these last couple picks here. You have number 20 or the pick number 27, Seattle Seahawks. Who do you think they're going to pick?
Patrick Queen, linebacker, inside linebacker, the second best inside linebacker, kid out of LSU. I like the pick here. Seattle can, Seattle's got that defense, and here goes another one, linebacker here to help them out. I think it's an excellent pick for Seattle.
Yep, number 28, Baltimore Ravens. Who do you think they kick?
How about Trayvon Diggs, cornerback at Alabama? You guys might have a little run on corners. I think a lot of the experts here have been a little bit fooled about how, not going to be too many corners, going to be wide receiver, offensive tackle. But you do have some good corners in here, and Diggs and Terrell and Fulton that are going to go after Fuda and Henderson. So I think Trayvon Diggs is a pretty good one, 6'1", 200 pounds out of Alabama. That would be a good selection here.
Yeah, I definitely do like that pick. Anybody but the offensive side, I think, would be great for the Baltimore Ravens. Number 29, Tennessee Titans. Who do you got?
Here's another corner. I like them. Listen, Utah had one of the best defenses last year in college football. I know they got ripped by Texas, but Texas underachieves, and then they show up when they want to show up, like against LSU and Utah. So they're a bunch of underachieving dogs. They're right here in my backyard. And so they actually tried to play against Utah, which is very funny, right? And once in a while they'll show up against Oklahoma, and once a blue moon. But Jalen Johnson, cornerback out of Utah, 6'1", 200 pounds. He's a heck of a playmaking corner. Here's your run on corners right here. This would be a perfect player right here.
I think the Titans go offensive line. They get somebody from your backyard. They get Josh Jones from Houston. I think that's where they go. Number 30.
That's a good one.
Number 30, Green Bay Packers.
How about Denzel Mims, another player I'm very familiar with. This guy's special. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, little light, but he can make all the. You can line him up anywhere, speed galore. Number 5 in your Baylor program. Denzel Mims has been a great receiver in the Big 12 for many years. I like the pick right here. For Aaron Rodgers to go opposite Davante Adams. This would be a nice pick here.
Yeah, I definitely like that pick as well. I got the same. They definitely need offensive firepower to go along with Aaron Rodgers and aging Aaron Rodgers. Once again, we have San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl losers at pick number 31. Who do you got?
Now, this is a shocker to me because I expected this kid to go in the top 10 at one point. How about Grant Delpit, the third safety off the board, kid out of LSU? Listen, Delpit you can line him up anywhere in the secondary, really. And this guy's an absolute playmaker. So this would be a very good kid for the 49ers right here.
I think the 49ers go wide receiver again. I like that receiver from Clemson, Higgins. I think the 49ers draft 2 receivers in the first round this year, giving them a lot of offensive firepower moving forward to the 2020 season. And, of course, at the 32nd overall pick of the first round, Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, where'd they go?
Hey, listen, I was going to ask you, this is your team. You already have Austin Jackson off the board, right? You can go Austin Jackson on my board. DeAndre Swift, how do you like DeAndre Swift?
I like it.
To go with Damian Williams. Talk about a NASCAR Cadillac package there. Or Cesar Martin, the best center guard in the draft. Who would you take out of those 3? Austin Jackson, Cesar Martin, or DeAndre Swift, running back? Either one of those 3. I have Jackson going to Kansas City, but you already have him off the board there. So would you go Swift, your running back, or would you go the best out center guard in the draft, Cesar Ruiz out of Michigan?
I would have to go offensive line because our offensive line is starting to age on the Kansas City Chiefs, and we did forget who. I believe it was our Schwartz, our right tackle. He retired unexpectedly. So I think they go offensive line. If they don't go offensive line, they don't go running back because I think they have enough offensive firepower right now.
Okay.
If they don't go offensive line, they're going to go cornerback, and they're going to go Trayvon Diggs from Alabama.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you listen. When you get to the 32nd selection, they're going to have people are going to mess up in this draft, and I guarantee you, Kansas City's going to be sitting there going, "Wow, he's there!
Yeah.
Wow, he's there!" And you don't have Austin Jackson in your board. I have him going to Kansas City. I think that's a heck of a gift there. But you listen, you can't go wrong if DeAndre Swift is there, right? I mean, Think about that for a second. I mean, if Damian Williams goes down, there you go. There's Swift coming in. I mean, that's a heck of a 1-2 combination there. So yeah, you really can't go wrong. And then listen, Cesar Ruiz is a mauler. 6'3", 310 pounds. He can play center or guard. I mean, so you can't really go wrong. I mean, either one of these picks there for Kansas City.
Yeah, the only problem I see with picking a Swift at that 32nd overall pick is we do have a stable of running backs. Like we still have Shady McCoy back there. We have Damian Williams. We had the other Williams still, and I believe they have the name is slipping my mind right now. I can never remember the fourth guy that they have back there, but they do have they have three or four solid running backs. I just pulled up. His name is De'Aaron Washington. You don't know much about him, but he was a 6th or 7th round pick just a couple years ago, and he is definitely a solid running back. So, I don't think they go running back at all.
Well, there you go. Then you get the Mauler up front, the best guard center in the draft, and Cesar Ruiz. And there you go.
Yeah, and actually that Washington kid was from Texas Tech, and I misspoke. He was a 5th round pick. So my fault. I thought he was a 6th round pick. But guys, that is going to be it for today's show. That is the first round of the NFL draft. Marcus, we're going to have you on later this week and really see if anybody decides to jump up in the draft early, make some trades and whatnot. And if that happens, we have to have you on, and we're going to retweak that your draft board a little bit, because the draft is a little over 14 days away now. So April 3rd or April 23rd is the
23rd, yeah.
So exactly 10 days away, guys. But that's going to be it for today's show, guys. As always, thanks for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe. Share this with a couple friends right here on rtsportsnetwork.com. And if you listen to it without the whole show, right now, go to rtsportsnetwork.com. We are giving away 3 free months of ESPN+. All you have to do is go to the homepage, scroll down to the bottom, enter in your email address, and the drawing for this is tomorrow, April 15th. So, guys, tune in to that. rtsportsnetwork.com. Scroll down there, type in your email address, and that's it. But guys, that's going to be it for today's show. Join me tomorrow, and always think with your heart, now with your head, something like that. Have a good day.